Hi, everybody. Welcome to the PIPCAST 3000. I am Caedo Genesis. This is my co-host, BADCompanySarge.
Woo! Spring break!
And this is a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about gaming news and have a dedicated Fallout topic. I said it's bi-weekly, right? And
Probably.
we put it up every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. I covered all the things.
Yeah, you did.
So our dedicated Fallout topic will be our unpopular opinions about Fallout. So be prepared to get mad. Be ready. Also, feel free to share your unpopular opinions in the comments section because we like seeing unpopular opinions, I guess. We just see them regularly anyway.
Yeah.
I think. Like, that's just a thing that we experience because of what we do on our own videos and other places. And then we have a whole bunch of news stuff to go over because the Game Awards happened, as well as several things that are infuriating and also things that are fine or okay or not great.
We got some neutral stuff in there too.
There's some neutral stuff. So all things that could be news. But first we have a tip of the day and a comment of the cast. Would you do the comment while I do the tip of the day?
Simultaneously, we got this.
Oh no. And just a reminder, our last topic, last PIPcast, episode 74, was about Fallout Confessions, and that's what the comment is replying to. Anyway, tip of the day, because it's Christmas season and people have Christmas trees, I would imagine, the real ones, that is. Do a Christmas tree check. Ensure that it's not near any source of heat or anything that has open flame. I think the recommended is 3 feet or more away, which is still, to me, in my mind, still pretty close. But yeah, just make sure your Christmas tree is not a fire hazard, so you can have a Merry Christmas without your house burning down. Because I don't want anybody's house to burn down. I feel like that's a good tip of the day.
Caedo speaks only for himself. His opinions do not reflect both of us.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Okay.
pro houses burning down.
All right, whatever. That's fine. But it's still unsafe. Okay, how about the comment? What's the comment, Sarge?
The comment is from Jamin P. Rose, who says, "My Fallout confession. I had no idea that you could convince Mr. Burke to give you more than 1,000 caps if you play a lady and have the Black Widow perk. Only found out thanks to watching one of my favourite YouTubers do that. That's after 4 years of playing Fallout 3 and multiple different runs as female characters."
Yeah.
So which one of us was it, Jamin? Because clearly it must have been one of us two that you watched.
It's
no one else could be a
only
favourite YouTuber.
Only me and Sarge. That's who you're watching. Only Sarge and myself. Nobody else. You get all of your news from one source.
Yep. That's the right way to do it. And don't let those other biased fake outlets tell you otherwise.
Oh no.
I will say the whole Mr. Burke and Megaton thing is like a very well done quest.
Yeah.
It's top tier in my opinion.
Yeah. It's a good introduction to the good and evil kind of thing, choices that you can make in Fallout 3. Then unfortunately they kind of taper off, but you know, during the Megaton stuff, it's there's so much.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. Also, I realized last time I played Fallout 3 that the Arfu stuff is like has like good and evil sides that are pretty clear too, which I liked.
Is Arfu vampires?
Yeah.
Cool. I am remembering that one. Yes.
Yeah.
You can be one of the good guys and kill everyone, or be one of the bad guys and not be a vampire.
Yes. Something like that.
Vampires
or maybe it's just a
always
gray area thing. I don't know. But I thought that was cool.
You know what else
Also,
people think is cool? Not funging their tokens.
Yep.
You would not believe how many times I have tried to hand someone a token and they're like, hold up, this looks like it's been funged. I don't think I can accept it.
Is their first question to me, if I offer somebody a tip when I go to the restaurant or something like that, they're like, is this fungible? And I'm like, yes, it's $1. And then they're like, I can't accept this. Non-fungible only. And I'm like, Well, call me an old man, but back in my day, we used to just tip with cash.
Oh.
That glorious segue leads us into Ubisoft's decision to be the first AAA, as far as I know, the first AAA publisher to want to incorporate NFTs into their games. And we still have no idea why, besides money.
No, that's all the reason that's needed, I think.
No idea why besides money, and trying to paint it as, oh, you can own something unique with its own unique ID number, and oh, it's got a player history, so if you're trading it with people, you can see the hands it has gone through. Did I explain that well? I didn't explain that well at all.
No, but you got your emotion across, and that's what matters.
Yes, non-fungible tokens are stupid. Anybody here who is like, I'm all about NFTs, well, I'm sorry, you're not going to find much care for them here at all. That's a warning ahead of time, because NFTs, I think they are extremely bad, toxic thing that will make gaming worse.
Yeah.
By being incorporated, because it's just another way for big companies to nickel and dime people. Like, that's really all it is.
I mean, there's so many bad things with them. Like, the ecological downsides, the fact that so many artists are just having their work stolen and then profited off of by people who have, like, no right to it.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you're a douche if you buy an NFT and then everyone knows that about you. Like, there's just a lot of stuff, honestly.
There is that. Yeah. It's like one more of those concerns of mine too, that I'm just like, if I find out somebody I know is investing in NFTs, I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's depressing.
It's like, the world is a terrible place.
A bit of respect.
At least the people in it are worse.
Right.
Okay, so slight silver lining. There's been like a variety of different reactions to the whole NFT thing, and PC Gamer, my favorite news website. Oh god, they've probably killed a puppy or something now that I've said that. Oh, I can't. You can't like anything. They're gonna be evil. I'm sorry.
You can't be biased, Sarge. That's illegal.
All right. But they put a thing in their article about how like 4 different companies have kind of reacted to NFTs, and I quote: "EA called NFTs the future of our industry, but Xbox boss Phil Spencer's worried they might be exploitative. Discord teased their integration, then swiftly U-turned after major backlash, while Steam's just decided to ban them altogether." Which is like the real broad reactions that we're getting to NFTs this year, where plenty of companies are being like, yes, this is the future, this is great. Others are trying it and then seeing that I'd say the majority of people are anti-NFT at this point, and then kind of backing off of it, and others didn't jump aboard the bandwagon and have seen the reaction and been like, oh yeah, this seems bad.
Yeah. I also would love to see examples of people that weren't already wealthy profiting off of NFTs.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that's just like, I need to be clear here that it's a rich person's game, and you can tell by who is also promoting it very clearly. As Sarge was just saying, you know, it's Steam. Well, Steam just prints money anyway because they're the biggest storefront. They don't need NFTs. And I'm glad that they did take a stand that way. But you've got Ubisoft and EA, 2 of the worst publishers in gaming, jumping on the bandwagon for NFTs. And then Xbox being like, it's probably not a good idea, but this is freaking Microsoft we're talking about. And then Epic's Tim Sweeney like flipped on what he was saying initially. He was like, this is probably not a good idea, and then he was like, this is something we should look into. Yeah. And I think that was actually just a reaction to Steam just disallowing NFTs in blockchain games.
Yeah.
Whereas Epic was just like, well, it's a competition, obviously, so we're gonna allow it or make some specific guidelines to follow.
Yeah. The Epic stuff, I do not fully get where they're going. To me, it sounded very much like they're not entirely sure what's going on, and they're giving some somewhat non-committal answers.
Yeah. But this is just more confusing microtransactions that publishers want to add to their games. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
If you want a simplified answer to what NFTs will bring to gaming, it's just more microtransactions, more ways to take players' money to own nothing, basically. Because NFTs are just receipts. They're not the actual item. In the real world sense, NFTs are just a proof of ownership, not the item itself. So even if you're like, I bought ownership of this picture of an ape, just using the most popular example, that's not stored on the blockchain. From what I'm learning, JPEGs are too big to store on the blockchain, so they're also stored on a different source. It's just the NFT itself, the receipt of ownership, that's stored on the blockchain. So if whatever's hosting that image goes down and you don't have another source of that, it's just gone. So I don't know. It's horrible. It's horrible stuff.
And it's not a good investment either. Like, the people who got in early probably did well on the investment side of it. Now, though, the probability of striking rich with NFTs is infinitesimal.
Mm-hmm.
As is the case when anything hits, like, the mainstream media, pretty much. That's just gambling-wise.
Yep. It's just disappointing. Also, there were some funny things that came out of this too, like Keanu Reeves laughing at the concept of NFTs, because Keanu Reeves is a treasure. When he was in an interview for the new Matrix movie coming out, which disappointingly also has NFTs involved due to the hype. They're everywhere. I hate it. I hate it so much. Let's move on to the next one, which also involves NFTs.
Okay.
The S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 devs are to auction NFTs for in-game bonuses, which was a bit of a gut punch for me, because I am very recently interested in the S.T.A.L.K.E.R franchise, because in my Games for Fallout fans, I played S.T.A.L.K.E.R Call of Pripyat. And I enjoyed it once I could get into it. But knowing now that the devs are kind of jumping on that bandwagon for incorporating NFTs into some sort of horrible auction where they will, cost players more. It's like getting an even more expensive special edition of a game just so you can have your likeness put into the game, probably just for your copy of it. Like, it's really stupid and complicated.
Yeah, it feels like a very dumb extra step, where if you purchase the NFT, it sounds like you'll become an NPC in the game.
Mm-hmm.
However, there have been previous games where they've just added in people as NPCs, because NFTs have nothing to do with game design, which is why video games existed before NFTs.
Yeah. And they're doing this outside of the game itself, which is another kind of gross way that they might be able to bypass Steam's rules against it because of how they're doing it, which is another thing that I'm just like, oh, if they're doing it, that means other developers are going to do it too. Like, that, nasty.
There's this gamesindustry.biz article, and as I'm reading through it, it's everything that makes me glad I didn't go into, like, the world of business. There's literally on here, when asked why the company chose to implement NFTs when it could have done the same thing without blockchain technology, the point I just made, they answered, interoperability between multiple games within our community, and for any other game willing to allow using the IP of this particular item.
No.
That's the quote.
No. That's... no.
I too can BS by saying basically nothing of real solid meaning.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of nothing speak is what they're doing. This isn't for the players. This never will be. It's strictly to hook people in, particularly wealthy players, to get more money out of them. That's it. That's all it is. And because they're hosting it as an auction too, like, sky's literally the limit on how much people are going to be willing to spend.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst parts of it. And I also learned that you can artificially inflate the value of things by making a second wallet. Like, there's no limitation on that kind of thing. From what I... Oh, man. It's all awful. It's all just bad. So you can literally add value to anything you want. I could take a picture of, like, a dog turd and then mint it as an NFT and then make another wallet and then add value with that other wallet. And then suddenly people would be interested in buying it. And I'm just ranting right now. I'm glad these were the first two topics because we have other other stuff to talk about. Unless you had something you wanted to say.
Here.
Okay.
I was going to do a mini rant about the meaninglessness, I've said that wrong, of money, but let's just not. Let's just be done with it. Just be done with it. To the potentially maybe quarter of a person out there listening to this who has the money to buy some stupidly ridiculous NFTs, don't. There are genuinely millions of better things you can do with your money.
Yeah. And if you want to get into, like, selling things that have actual value, get into freaking, like, Magic the Gathering and eBay or some crap. Like, at least you get something out of it. Good God. But don't scalp PS5s. I will hunt you.
I mean, to quote the smartest man of our age... be a good person. It's not that hard. You don't have to do something amazing every day. You don't have to change the world. You just have to be a decent human being. It's really not that difficult.
Yep. The person I went to trade school with added on to that saying, it's not that hard, guys. Like every single day. And I love him for it. Come on. It's not that hard, guys. Man. I hope he's doing okay. Anyway, something that I assume is doing okay because I haven't seen like a huge amount of backlash for it. Night of the Moth, the Fallout 76 update for winterish.
Yep.
Yeah, until December 21st.
For the Equinox.
Yeah, it's an event going on where you can join other dwellers and aid the enlightened in completing ceremonial tasks around Point Pleasant, lighting ritual bonfires and defending against an onslaught of rival Mothman cultists. They have like gangs now. The Mothman has gotten so popular that he has different gangs.
Yep.
It's crazy. Season 7 also began for the scoreboard. I haven't gotten a look at it yet, or the items for that matter. But basically all of this stuff has been like just a whole bunch of more stuff to do for the holiday season. If you're not particularly interesting, like myself, and really don't go out and do anything, there's stuff to do in 76.
I do feel like at this point, 76 has kind of hit its stride with the regular players who do just keep playing, because there's not been like any major updates since near the start of the year. I feel like it's just on the steady people who just are enjoying it, which is cool.
Yeah. Well, you did have the Brotherhood of Steel stuff, like that.
Yeah, that was early in the year, though.
That was early in the year, huh?
Yeah.
I think so.
Was a while back. I want to say, wait. I don't know where to find it.
I don't think either of us can perceive time.
Was it Still
like
Dawn or
people.
Still Rain?
Steel Rain was the second one.
Still Rain. Does it say?
Steel Dawn was the first one.
Oh, Lord. Stop making Brotherhood stuff, Bethesda. And if you do, just call it something different.
Steel Drain. That's what we're suffering from right now.
Oh, 7th of July. There we go.
Okay, so
it's like halfway through the year.
Yeah, but there's also some quality of life stuff that they added that is really good. Like, so good. Nearby corpse looting. So,
yes.
Like, if you just mow down a ton of enemies in like an event of some kind, there's the radioactive rumble, right? Which just has a ton of ghouls coming at you and your team. Now you can loot multiple corpses by just looting one pile. So, you don't have to spend more time there looting, which is really nice. Also, legendary loot sharing, which is included in just nearby, being nearby a legendary enemy. When it dies, allows you to loot the legendary weapon off of, or legendary gear off of it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to tag things anymore. It did show, tagging did show how cool people were to each other in Fallout 76, and now that's gone because of this. Yeah. But you don't have to worry if there's that random a-hole that's just gonna one-shot the queen or something.
Yep.
That you'll still get the loot off of it at least. Team XP sharing, which makes leveling a heck of a lot easier. That's for sure. The new tab for the build menu. So if you learn new blueprints for building in your camp, you can look at the brand new ones that you got instead of having to sift through all the other tabs to find them. Pip-Boy key ring. Now all your keys are on a key ring. I don't know why it took them so long to add this, because it was already a part of other Fallout games, but just wasn't in 76 for some reason. Pip-Boy menu color customizations. I don't really care about it much, but it's another thing that got added after it got removed from previous Fallout games. I don't know why. And also ammo everywhere. Like the daily ops, enemies are going to be able to drop ammo that you're using against them. So you won't have to craft as aggressively to keep your ammo supply up with whatever weapon you choose to use. So all these things are pretty good. And I haven't seen anything like super overly negative about them, except for maybe how it runs on consoles, the update for the Mothman stuff. But that was primarily people talking about PS4, I think, running on PS4, which Bethesda games have always had trouble running on Sony platforms. So I don't know. This is from my own experience too. Even though I played the crap out of Oblivion and Fallout 3 on a PS3, they did not perform that well compared to other things like PC and Xbox. Anyway, if you're looking for an excuse to get back into 76, here's your excuse.
Yep. For 2 more days, the event is up.
For 2 more days. So jump in there and get all the holiday goodies you can.
Yep.
Well, I guess I should mention this one, because I don't know if you looked into this at all. Our next little thing is a no-clip documentary that I linked. It's a bit of a shorter one because it's related to the Forgotten City mod turned into a game, and it was initially a mod for Skyrim.
Yep.
And about its one developer, one person that developed the mod, and then when they started designing a game, after that point, he started getting more people on board. But this man was initially a lawyer, and it tells about the separation that's trades like being a lawyer versus working in video games are still far apart from each other, because he talked about being judged in a negative way about the time he was spending on this mod project. And obviously it's its own game, so it was not a small mod. But it's cool to learn that side of things, and also just being an indie developer in general. Like, it's kind of everything from modder to indie developer that you don't quite consider just at face value, and it's a nice little look into that. Yeah. I suppose. And also talk about taking a risk. Like, I have savings, I'm gonna quit my job and work on this. Like, I've done that too.
Same.
I don't like recommend it to anyone unless you are absolutely head over heels all about what you're going to do.
I'm happy to eat chicken nuggets, chips, and mushy peas as your fanciest meal for the next 5 years.
Yeah. And frozen burritos and ramen.
I'm not up to that stage yet. If my next few videos bang, maybe, but...
The concept of Forgotten City is... it's not a combat-oriented game. It's instead stopping a cataclysm by interacting with NPCs and just talking to the people in the world. Yeah. And because it's like time travel oriented, you're going back into the past to fix the future kind of kind of thing, which is pretty
I'd almost
cool.
describe it as a conversation-based puzzle game.
Yeah, it's closer to that, I think. That's a better...
Did Caedo just walk away from the mic?
I'm sorry. I had to turn my heater off.
Oh, okay. I just heard you leave after I said that. I was like,
Bye.
jeez, dude.
Later. You've got this, Sarge.
Yep. I've played a bit of the game. It's on Game Pass.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's how I played it.
Oh, cool.
So if you got Game Pass, you can play it there. It's perfectly fine.
Okay.
It's not really my kind of thing, to be honest, but I did enjoy the short time I spent with it.
That's good. Yeah. Also, No Clip, if you're not subscribed to them, you should be, because they do some really cool deep dives into the development of various franchises. Highly recommend their Hades one, because they were with Supergiant Games many steps of the way, and it's really cool to see the beginnings and the ultimate final conclusion to Hades becoming, what, last year's Game of the Year?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that.
My personal favourite no-clip documentary is the Fallout 76 one. Because it's like probably the most detailed deep dive you get into like seeing a Bethesda game in the works, and you really get to see kind of what they were going for. If you pay enough attention, you see ideas that were in there that didn't make it into the game and other stuff. I found that one very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, something that's also supposedly interesting, I've never had it myself, but Skooma.
Ah, delicious Skooma.
Yes.
Some would say it's nice Skooma.
Is that what you're going with, Sarge?
Okay, so what we have here is The Elder Scrolls trademark Skooma Absinthe 69%.
Alcohol by volume.
Yeah. It also in the UK costs £69, but somewhat annoyingly, it's 70 centilitres you get. And honestly, I think it'd be more worth the price tag if they just poured out a centilitre. So you could have 69%, 69 centilitre, £69 cost Skooma. It'd be perfect.
That's just silly.
Yes. This isn't a meme as well. Like, I'm assuming, Caedo, you've got up, like, the American version, and I'm guessing it's not $69.
It still says £69. Shop the rest of the world. Oh, here we go. Add to cart, view cart.
Does it just charge you in pounds because it's
still
correct?
Charging me in pounds.
Oh, well, you almost buy this now because it uses the right currency, not all the other ones which are wrong and incorrect.
Ah, says you.
Yes. Yeah, this is just kind of funny. I will say this seems pretty pricey. I must admit, I've never bought Absinthe before. I might have some in my room though.
I feel like part of the price is the bottle and the branding.
Yeah,
like
it's a fancy little bottle.
It's very expensive.
It's Bethesda branded. I've called Bethesda out many a time for the fact that like all of their side merch style stuff is overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all just very costly.
Yeah,
And
like the welcome kit.
Yes, that's the most egregious example which I had to put into a video.
Yeah.
But it's especially whenever I see people being like, oh, Bethesda have made this video game which is just such a money grab. That's what I always just think to this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is a nice little clay bottle thing for the Skooma, but no way did this take as much work to make as a video game took. Like, this is where the cash grab stuff comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we'll make some vaguely branded to us merch. Like, the thing is as well, the Skooma aspect of this is it's a purple bottle that has the word Skooma on it. And on top, on the little stopper, the little ribbon thing that closes it has, like, the Skyrim 10 logo. That's all the Elder Scrolls branding for it. It's like, purple. Like Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. They're purple, I guess.
Yeah, also, one of the images, which normally would be the bottle, is just like one of the Skyrim posters that you see everywhere.
Are you sure this isn't a meme?
It's not a meme.
Okay.
Some it's not a meme. They've got a little video as well, where it's just some very basic cinematics, and it's like order the limited edition Absinthe Skooma. That's it. This is not a meme. So yeah, that's it. I just thought I'd spread some joy and inform people about some nice skooma, which is probably a cash grab.
That is pretty nice. Hey, you know what else spreads joy? Free games.
Woo! That was the fastest transition I think we've ever done. I literally couldn't finish my drink in time for that.
So there's Epic Game Store is running their 15 days of free games. It starts, well, Friday. Started Friday.
It started Thursday.
Thursday.
Yep. We're already on day 2 on time recording. Day 3 will have gone by before this comes out. If you're listening to this right as this goes live, day 4 will have started.
Yep, yeah. So get your free games on Epic if you have it installed. Or if you just want free games, get Epic Game Store and get a bunch of free games.
Yeah. So far we've had Shenmue 3 and Neon Abyss. Those are the first 2 of the free games. There's also another free game which we can't tell you about, which was free yesterday, and which you probably missed out on. But yeah, Epic gives away like a free game every week, basically, on their store. And it's generally pretty small games. But for like the 15 free days thing that they do, you get just bigger games. Yeah. So Shenmue's like a 30 quid game. This one, Neon Abyss, is like 16 quid. Like,
there's gonna be more like big games too. Probably some that were released this year even. So,
I mean,
keep an eye out.
Both of the games that I mentioned came out last year, I believe. So it's relatively recent games.
Yeah,
that you're getting.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if FF7 Remake was one of the free games?
Hey, if it was, I'd play it.
I would too again. But I'm not gonna pay $70 again just to play Intergrade. Anyway, I removed that from the outline on purpose. You know what else is a great deal? It's not free.
No,
but,
it's not free.
Xbox Game Pass is a pretty dang good deal.
But no, it isn't. Xbox Game Pass doesn't exist. You're lying. There's no such thing as Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
Can't be. It's PC Game Pass now. They're calling it.
That's all we have down here for the outline too, by the way. It says Xbox Game Pass is now PC Game Pass, just in case, there was some confusion there. Yeah. Because there is one that's been on PC for a while.
Yeah. It's all exactly the same. Like, I didn't learn about this news until I saw the outline, despite having been using the Game Pass app, like, every day.
Yep. It was one of those one and done things. Also, like, there was other news that kind of overlapped it pretty quickly. So, yeah. So, it's just called PC Game Pass now, and you have access to day one exclusives for, when it comes to Microsoft games. So, and you have a massive library too of a whole bunch of different games. I think, It Takes Two is on there, which was Game of the Year, right?
Probably.
Pretty sure. Yeah. So if you want to play and have somebody to play it with, highly recommend, by the way. We'll talk more about that later. Also, Halo Infinite, that exists. You can.
There are many games on Game Pass.
Yeah.
I will talk about some later. We have talked about many before.
Fallout 4.
I feel like everyone already knows this stuff.
Psychonauts 2. Minecraft.
A game that's not going to be on Game Pass is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
What? Why not, Sarge?
Because then I wouldn't have to pay for it. And...
That's true.
Mr. I've forgotten his name has said, no, Sarge, you must pay for this game. So they didn't put it on Game Pass, and it's all my fault.
Dang it, Sarge.
I'm sorry. But yeah. Goodish news, though. We've got to see the other 2 classes that are coming to
Wonderlands. Yeah!
In the Clawbringer and Spellshot.
Yes. So it's a mage and another warrior kind of guy.
Hammer 4, not 4.
Hammer with a pet dragon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
You can probably tell that both of us aren't, like, blown away by this stuff. I will say the trailers don't really show that much other than a brief glimpse at what gameplay looks like as these classes, but not with, like, any technical information whatsoever.
Yeah, not really. Probably waiting for closer release or whatever.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't come out till, like, end of March, but...
Or maybe they limit that to the Borderlands podcast, which is still going, by the way. I'm surprised.
There's a Borderlands podcast?
Yeah,
an official one?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's been going since Borderlands 3. I'm really surprised it's still going. But they share exclusives before trailers go live and stuff like that. But I haven't watched them in a long time because it's just, you know... It's a themed podcast about one game. Why would anybody do that kind of thing? Why would people focus on just one franchise of video games and make a podcast about it? That's ridiculous. Why would somebody do that?
That's dumb.
Yeah.
And everyone who does that hates kittens.
And puppies.
No, I love puppies.
Well, you threw cats under the bus. I'm gonna throw puppies under the bus.
Hey, it's fine. Cats land on their feet. You can throw them under buses. It's okay. They'll be the right way up.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, I will say once like actual information, like numerical style information comes out about these classes, I might get somewhat excited. But from theme alone, nothing's like calling to me that much. It's all just like, yeah, it looks Borderlands-ish, but with a fantasy twist.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
I was disappointed. I've already been disappointed by it. Because the claw whatever.
Yep.
Clawbringer. I was under the impression that name implied that it was a monk style character.
No.
But it's not.
I mean, when I hear Clawbringer, I think of that character from Cannon Busters, whose name is not easily Googleable.
This is really obscure, Sarge.
Who is who? There's so many characters in this.
Don't worry, the editing will save you.
It's Dex.
Dex.
Yes, who's a member of the fraternity. She lacks arms and uses floating prosthetics. Dex is sly and sinister. She involves herself in hand-to-hand combat, with her prosthetic hands being able to have claws.
Oh.
She literally, like, has no arms, but has, like, floating claw hands, which she shoots through people.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would have liked that. But actually, pretty much every character from Cannon Busters would fit quite well into a Borderlands-style game.
Kind of sounds like it.
Yeah.
Just ridiculousness.
And that's why I kept watching it.
Yeah. So was it a show?
It's one of those animes.
Animes?
Yeah, you may have heard of them, but they exist. And I don't think many people know about them yet. I'm pretty, low down on the trends and stuff, so I got in early. Hip. Yeah. Some people could say I'm the coolest person in the world. I wouldn't say that, obviously, but others have said it about me repeatedly, very loudly.
And as you know, Sarge is very humble. The humblest of Sarges.
My humility really does put everyone else to shame. I should have my own award ceremony.
Hey, there it is. I was wondering how we were going to get there. Like the Game Awards 2021, perhaps?
No, something actually good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I suppose we can talk about the Game Awards until the Sarge Awards show up.
Yep. So we don't have to really talk about how the Game Awards was executed because there was...
Terribly. Awful. It was trash.
All right.
I didn't watch it, though.
There was some missteps in my mind, but generally I was fine with the show.
Okay.
Co-Carnage brought up a good... Co-Carnage is a big streamer, by the way. Like, one of the iconic streamers. Any streamer that was doing a watch-along for the Game Awards had to deal with, other streamers in between different segments of the Game Awards pushing people to join their stream. Which is gross. Ads, whatever, those are fine, but ads pulling from other streams to their stream, I can see why that would make people very frustrated. And Carnage was pretty outspoken about that aspect. The rest of it, though, didn't bother me too much. I liked some of the musical collaborative stuff that was done. Anyway, we are here to talk about the games, and if you are interested in any trailers related to the games that we're talking about and like the full list, I have it down in the description. Either if it'll fit all of the links, I have all the links there. If not, I'll just link a Google Doc with all of the links for trailers, for premieres and stuff like that, if you're interested to see what games are coming in the future. So anyway, Sarge, what excited you from the Game Awards, and did you want to see more of?
Very little. So, as stated, I didn't watch the Game Awards, and it turns out I made the correct choice, because very few things on here really caught my interest all that much. Like, it's not a case of, all these games look terrible or anything. It's just like half of them I already know tons about, and almost the other half I just don't really care for that much. But there were a few things where I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. First up, we've already talked about it, but Wonderlands. A trailer dropped for that, which I kind of liked. Was it the story one? Let me double check this. I think it was, yeah, the official story trailer, which is much better than the character trailers. Got a bit more personality to it. A little bit of fun. That was just kind of nice. But because I am a one-note person, the other two games which interested me were both from Warhammer. The first was Warhammer Vermintide 2, which is a game which is already out and has been out for years, and which Caedo and I actually played through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
we played
did.
with Jared and Eddie, and there's a new character class coming in, which is the Warrior Priest.
Yeah!
Which means the character I played as, who was the Witch Hunter, now, rather than being, like, a little nimble with the rapier and the flip-lock pistol, can be in heavy armor with a hammer and going, Sigma! Smash, smash, smash!
Bye, Sigma! Yeah!
Yes, that kind of stuff. Which, Jared's voice, whenever I imagine Jared, I hear him going, Bye, Sigmata! That's just permanently how Jared is just in my mind.
Fond memories of Jared.
Yeah, just
praising
that.
Sigmar.
But never getting his name right.
Yeah. By the way, there's highlights of that on my channel.
Oh, yes. You should watch them.
Check out the Caedo's highlights playlist, the Vermintide 2 ones. I think as of right now they're the most recent, but I might have some It Takes Two highlights at some point. Ooh. If they're appropriate enough for my channel.
Oh. I mean, the game is renowned for its nudity and strong language, so you might not be able to put it on there.
It's not the game I'm worried about.
No, I know. I know. The game is not filled with nudity and strong language. It's like little puppets.
It does have some strong language, though. It's not a game for kids. It just appears that way.
It's not my kind of strong language.
Okay, whoa. So humble, Sarge.
Okay. As well, I liked the look of Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, just because the original Space Marine was like a really solid game, which was very beloved, and now, like, a long time later, the second one is apparently coming, which is kind of cool. And I'm sure lots of people will be happy. I'm pretty sure Tony was a big fan of Space Marine, I think. I'm pretty sure he made like a video on it ages back. I'm actually going to check that now. How do I spell space? There we go. Got it. Yep, where are the 40k games? Space Marine, Mondays with Mo.
Nice.
Yeah. It's really just a very beloved old game from back when I was like a teenager. And it's finally getting a sequel, which is cool to see.
That's good.
Yeah. So, what did you enjoy from the Game Awards, Caedo? Well,
the main one was Hellblade 2. We got to see more of Hellblade 2 by Ninja Theory. If you've listened to this podcast before, play Hellblade 2 is a pretty common thread in if there's anything that relates to video games being art or video games kind of pushing the envelope of realism, like Hellblade will probably be something I mention, because just look at the Hellblade 2 trailer. Just look at it. Watch it. It's ridiculous how good it looks. And I'm stoked for the game. Like, it's not a movie. Looks like a movie, but it's a game. And it looks like Senua's gonna have some sort of command position in this one, because the first game was her kind of fighting her own demons kind of thing, but the second game may be more like, you know, a battle leader of some kind, which is kind of cool. Maybe it'll be like that. Maybe she'll wind up by herself again, because it was only like a little short gameplay tease thing. But I found it to be really awesome. Her and a bunch of tribal fellas go take on a titan. So that's cool. But yeah, stoked for it. It's still to be announced for its release date, but yeah, whenever it happens, I'm gonna be playing the crap out of it. Also, during the Game Awards, it was shared that Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade was coming to PC, just casually coming to PC within a couple of weeks.
And by within a couple of weeks, we mean it's out already.
Yeah, it's out now. So I was also a little disappointed though, because it's being sold for full price. Not just $60 full price, but console $70 full price, that they're still trying to turn into a regular thing. Lots of people were pissed when the listing went up, and they actually delisted it up until release day, in which they listed it again for the same price. So that's a little annoying. Square Enix gotta make that money. I really don't like Square Enix as a publisher. Is there a publisher I do like? That's a better question. Anyway, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. If you haven't played it, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, I still do recommend keeping an eye on it to see if the price goes down, and then get it and play it, because it is a very good game. Really good. It's one of the best JRPGs I've ever played.
Wow. That's...
Yeah. If you're okay with action-oriented JRPGs. I should put that up there too. If you're old school and like, oh, I have to have a turn-based, then you're probably not going to have a good time. I wasn't directing that at you, Sarge. Maybe a little bit.
Just sounded like it.
I only play Final Fantasy IX. Look at me playing Tetramaster. Now I'm directing it at you.
There have been so many times I've tried to do like a full Tetramaster playthrough of Final Fantasy IX. It's such a bad game, though.
It's
Tetramaster, not Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX's perfect, except for Tetramaster, which sucks. If Final Fantasy IX had Triple Triad, it would be the greatest game of all time, objectively. But it doesn't. They put in a garbage game instead.
Yeah. Oh well. The third thing. I picked the third thing. The Matrix Awakens Unreal 5 preview or tech demo that they did was pretty dang awesome. And it's playable, but only on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S currently. So if you have any of those new consoles, hopefully that you didn't buy from a scalper, because that's still a problem, you could try The Matrix Awakens, which is it starts with a really cool cinematic Matrix-esque thing with Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss, and digital recreations of them from the Matrix movies, kind of doing a little skit type intro thing, and then you end up as one of the new characters from The Matrix 4 that's coming out soon. And you can wander around the city that they were driving through and turn things on and off, switch AI on and off, change the time of day and stuff like that. Just like Unreal Engine demo stuff. And also something that a lot of people neglect to notice when they're playing through, because obviously streamers and YouTubers and stuff have played through these as well, is that there's map markers on the map, because there's a map of the city that you can wander around, that have little Easter eggs here and there. And I have yet to see people focus on those and look at all of them. Maybe there's somebody's video out there, but the one that I linked is just the watch and enjoy thing. But if you have a favorite streamer or internet journalist, gaming journalist person, chances are they might have played with the Unreal 5 demo, and I just recommend seeing that instead, because there's a little more to it than what you see in the trailer.
I watched the Outside Xbox one.
Oh yeah, they did that.
Yeah. They went through like some Easter eggs and lots of different stuff. They gave a thorough look at it and talked about things, which is good.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I forgot, because I watched like 2 other ones.
See, I only watched the best one.
I hope The Matrix 4 is good. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. I hope it's good.
I mean, one of the Matrix movies was definitely good.
Wow. Are we gonna go there, Sarge? Is that where we're going?
I'm saying one of them was definitely good. I'm not saying the other two are necessarily bad. I'm just saying that there's at least one good Matrix movie. Potentially, there could be more than one good Matrix movie. But I'm not saying there definitely is more than one good Matrix movie.
So you're not gonna specify?
No.
And then next day, Sarge take it out of context. Sarge loves Matrix Revolutions.
I like the mechs. The mechs were fun.
Yeah, they were. Wow. Yeah, they were really cool, actually. Anyway, yeah. So again, also we should mention Game of the Year. It Takes Two. I think we already mentioned that, but it's nice to see a smallish indie. Maybe it looked like AA. We can call it AA, because there is so much packed into that game, just in the gameplay sense of like diverse gameplay segments, that it feels like the arcade or midi game place you go to in Final Fantasy games, all like packed into one game and all having depth that you would hope for in an arcade scenario. I don't know. Yeah. And it's also got some interesting themes, dealing with parents divorcing and how to deal with it. Maybe badly is the key. I would say badly, probably, actually.
Yes,
badly, probably. Do it
actually
badly. That's
let it scar and remember the rest of your life. Embrace it.
So it deals with more of how a kid handles it, kind of thing. Which I think is interesting. But the gameplay is what makes the game shine. Like, Nelsar and I were talking trash on the characters in general the whole time, but the game itself was so much fun. Anyway, yeah, so that's the news and stuff.
I will say, of course, Fortnite got robbed of Game of the Year, but that is just my unpopular opinion.
Oh, nice, good. I was gonna say Battlefield 2042. That should have gotten Game of the Year.
Oh, that was a contender, definitely. Everyone does love it.
Or Cyberpunk.
That came out last yeyear.
Yeah, but Cyberpunk was.
Oh, but yeah, because it's not actual like within the thing, is it? No, that's no.
It's silly.
Not even as a joke, Caedo. How could you?
Anyway, all those are unpopular opinions. That's our Fallout topic for this time. And I'm gonna let you take the stick when people run and hand a stick to people. The marathon stick. What's that called?
Sticky marathon race.
I'm tossing you the sticky of the marathon.
The sticky rod. Okay, I'll grasp a sticky rod and take on this topic.
Oh no.
Unpopular Fallout opinions. So we have a Reddit post which this is based off. The Reddit post is what's your unpopular Fallout 4 opinions, and the first top comment I see on that is from 76. So, are we doing Fallout 4 or are we just doing Fallout in general?
However you want to take it, dude.
Okay, well, I'll start on Fallout 4, and we'll see how many people hit the dislike button, and then I'll work out if I transfer.
We're going for a record.
Yep. So, first off, I will cover some stuff which I have already talked about in depth. Generally speaking, the OST of Fallout 4 and the rest of the Fallout games in general isn't very good. Possibly, some might say, if they wanted to get more clicks on a video, that Fallout sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But my overall point for it, which definitely is, like, it's not even like an unpopular opinion, because even though you lot can't see it, I know that the like to dislike ratio was still in my favour, but a lot of people did dislike the fact that I said that the overall OST for Fallout games isn't great, but there's just a lot of very generic, repeated, similar sounding tracks. It's the thing is, well, they're not even the best tracks for just being music that fades into the background. There's a lot of highs and lows to the generic tracks, which is not what you want. When you're having a track that's just going to repeat, you want it to stay pretty consistent in terms of volume and not have too many major changes. Because a major change in music should really signify something happening, and when you're accompanying it with some visual, then you need something in the visual to really happen to, like, complement the audio change. But Fallout 4 in particular is quite bad at that. In the video I made, I specifically showed off how, like, when I was just walking past a location with no enemies around, the music suddenly went a bit more dramatic, just because that's how the music was. Nothing was happening, not in reaction, just very bad. There are a few moments in Fallout 4 where the score is done very well. I think there's a couple of tunes, like the Railroad theme is decent, it works well for what it is. When you first approach Sanctuary, there's a beautiful little sting that you get, but for the most part, the generic OST is bad, I'd go so far as to say. And it's not even just like, oh, it's a bit disappointing. It's like, we know Bethesda can do better. Skyrim has an amazing background ambient OST. So they've shown that it can be done. It just, in the Fallout games, I don't think it's very good.
Yeah. Did you already clarify that you're not talking about licensed tracks?
No, but see, in my video I was smart enough to put right at the beginning that OST stands for, like, original soundtrack, and define it very well. But yeah, if you're listening to, like, what are they called? Oh, I forgot my name.
Radio?
The Ink Spots, I was going to say. But yeah, if you're listening to a radio with bands like the Ink Spots playing, then that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about radio off, just the background music that is playing normally.
Yes.
Because there's some really good radio songs, but they're all licensed music.
Yeah. I don't fully agree with Sarge.
Man, can't believe you'd say something so wrong.
I know, due to it being an unpopular opinion, and we know this.
Yes.
That I think sticking to kind of a atmospheric vibe as the Fallout soundtracks do, I think they contribute a bit well to the bleakness of the wasteland. But that's only my own taste. Like, I usually play with the radio off anyway, and I'm sure you do, Sarge, too, because of copyright stuff, just force of habit at this point.
I mean, I normally play with radio off and headset off because I don't want to be listening to those tracks just going over and over again in the most boring way possible. And here's the thing, I'm going further into this because I am passionate about this. I am genuinely quite passionate about this, especially after I had, like, someone comment being like, "Oh, what a stupid video that you haven't thought through and clearly is like some money grab or something they just threw up in 5 seconds." After I, like, rescored multiple sections of the game and all that stuff. What was I talking about?
Original soundtrack music being bad?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, it's not even a case of, like, I get that it's going for that kind of theme of bleakness and stuff, but a game that does that so much better, and for which the music I still don't like, but appreciate a lot more as fitting the purpose, is Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X has a genius piece called Hymn of the Faith, which is perfect at setting this sad mood, and I've got multiple tracks of it. Just listen, it's like it's very bleak, somber, it really fits the mood of the game, and it sticks in my mind. and it fits well because they score differently on different areas. It's not always bleak and sad, because when you've always got the same level of, oh, isn't the world a bad place now, but it's gone, you don't get any contrast with the soundtrack, which is something Fallout's particularly bad with for the most part.
Well, I think it may have something to do with open world versus linear story, too.
But no, because Final Fantasy X is still open world, although not a great open world, let's face it.
Yeah, but okay, so how many world map tracks are there compared to the track that you're talking about?
Well, there's like a different track for every area.
Right.
In Final Fantasy X, which is something that Fallout doesn't do.
Right. Which has an effect on how game feel is as well.
It makes it a lot worse.
Yeah. Because they have to try to cover all bases rather than, a specific area or specific theme for a specific.
Yeah, but they could just do more tracks. They could do better tracks.
They could
do so many different things. Instead, they have I think it's something like 4 tracks for just wandering around the Commonwealth. And when you're playing for 50 hours in a campaign or something, and you're hearing those same 4 tracks for 30 to 35 hours, and each track is a few minutes long or 5 minutes long, it becomes way too repetitive. Just way too repetitive. If you mix it up a bit more and really have tracks that stand out in significant locations, then it can be a billion times better.
Maybe, I know that making an entire soundtrack, especially if it's just one person, Einon Zur for Fallout 4, is a massive process to do. I'm not a game developer, obviously, but I have a feeling that it's hard to make an entire soundtrack for a game and different feels and themes and stuff like that for different parts of the game.
Unless you're Nobuo Uematsu.
I guess. You can tell...
Who is the greatest.
Just by listening to a track, you can tell it's by him, though. It's... you can hear it. You can hear it a lot of the time in the music. Before I listened to the Lost Odyssey, when I listened to the Lost Odyssey soundtrack, I knew immediately, without even looking up, the name of the composer, because I was just this feels like a Final Fantasy track. Oh, look, Nobuo Uematsu. And you can hear it. Anyway, that's a different tangent, right? But I wonder if something like soundtrack DLC could be a thing. I wonder if people would be into that. Because I know DLCs themselves can have new tracks added into, but I wonder if something like that could be added just as DLC for more music, or just an update. So it wouldn't put a time crunch on the initial soundtrack, but just add more to it the longer the game is out. Or add something with different vibes. That could justify probably selling it as a DLC instead.
I'm not a fan of that at all.
No?
No, I'm much more a case of have some purpose-fit tracks for locations and just make the generic ones easier listening to.
Yeah. I just worry that just to make more in the time frame that they have isn't a valid reasoning.
I mean, it's not even just make more. If you look at the number of tracks between a Final Fantasy game and a Fallout game, while Final Fantasy generally has more, it's not triple the amount or anything crazy, it's just a little bit more. Fallout just goes way harder on the, here's half a dozen generic tracks that are going to play every single second that you're not doing something in one of these 5 locations that we've decided. It's more distributing the tracks better, I'd argue.
Alright. You have your opinion.
Yeah, I do. And it's correct. Which is why it's so unpopular. Because everyone else is a dumb. And I'm the only smart person in the world who understands this. And music isn't subjective. Let's keep that in mind. It is only right and wrong.
Sure.
I would like to clarify there, but that was sarcasm.
Sarge is being sarcastic.
I get called out on my sarcasm as genuine stuff far too often. And I need to clarify it there. Okay. Well, do you have an unpopular opinion about Fallout you'd wish to share?
Well, I scrolled down a little ways, and supposedly An unpopular opinion is hating Maxon, which is not. That's not an unpopular opinion.
Wait, which Maxon?
Elder Maxon in Fallout 4.
Oh, yeah.
That's not unpopular opinion. That people hate Maxon. People hate the Brotherhood of Steel.
I feel like it is unpopular in terms of more people like it than dislike it.
That's what I was going to use as my unpopular opinion, is that I do like Elder Maxon and I do like the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 4.
Okay. See,
Because...
to me that feels like it is the popular opinion, but I have a feeling that it very much depends on what audience you're looking at. Because I'm guessing it's the case of it's very unpopular with people who are bigger fans of the older games and the older Brotherhood, and people who are more into the more recent games.
Older, but not too old.
Oh.
Right? Like, where's Lion's Brotherhood of Steel? That was the major shift in the Brotherhood of Steel. In their nature. And people use that as a jumping off point a lot of the time because Fallout 3 was a very popular game. Which is why I like Elder Maxon in Fallout 4, because that's kind of a return to form with the Brotherhood of Steel. Like, they have their little nuances every so often, but Maxon was like a little bit of a mix between Lion's care for the community, but also massive hatred for abuse of technology. Like, and then he was able to bring the outcasts back into the Brotherhood of Steel. I think that's a cool arc to me. And also, despite looking like he's 40, he's like in his 20s. I think that's hilarious. Just a little side thing. But yeah, I think for faction leaders, I think he's one of the strongest too, because he knows why they're there and he commands authority because he knows why they're there. I don't know if I can say that for the other factions, really, except maybe the Railroad, kind of, but they have no endgame. So I just like Elder Maxon. And I think the interaction between him, you, and Dan's is one of the best dialogue interactions in Fallout.
Yeah. I will say that part definitely isn't like unpopular. That does get a fair bit of praise, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because that is just genuinely very well done.
Yeah.
And it's
absolutely.
Subject which is very interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess that's my unpopular opinion. I like Elder Maxon in Fallout 4. I think he's cool. I will not kill him for his coat, like many people like to brag about, because, well, there's a lot of things that are better.
Man, it's not Fallout, but definitely an unpopular opinion I have, which has had some real-world ramifications, is that I'm not a big fan of party snacks, the big old dragon from Skyrim. And I'm
Parthenax?
Totally... Yeah, Parthenax.
Party snacks?
Party snacks, yes. And I have zero issue with killing him, and it surprised me just how much, like, some people have it as a big issue. Like, the first time I found out it was a big deal was through Tinder. Where I was just talking to someone, and they were like, "You did what to Parthenax?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I did." And oh man, that relationship went nowhere after that.
That dragon juice is pretty good, I gotta say. However, I understand where some people are coming from with that aggressive reaction, because while I don't care either way a lot of the time with Parthenax, what I do care about is how much the blades suck in Skyrim.
Yeah.
Which is probably the bigger deal.
Yeah. I will say I'm not like pro blade so much. I'm more so pro being a murderous psychopath.
Yeah.
And exacting vengeance.
Which people do all the time in Skyrim.
Making dragons and people pay for their past sins.
Yeah. Righteous fury.
They can be forgiven, but the blood must still pay the price. Fortunately, though, me hating Parthenax so much is fine, because I love Preston Garvey. I think he's great.
Yeah.
He's a good character in my mind.
I have no problem with Preston Garvey if you look past the Radiant Quest giver part.
I'm cool with being given settlements to build up. I like the settlement whole mechanic thing. I've been considering like next year maybe doing like a settlement stream where I just do a Fallout 4 playthrough where I try and build up every single settlement, because I don't think I've ever fully done that with the game, and I'd love to. And also, Preston as a character, I do very much like having this broken person who's struggling a lot and just wants to rebuild this thing, and you're their last chance to do it, but still won't, like, become some megalomaniac or power-hungry idiot like so many things do. He feels like the most relatable character in Fallout to me, honestly.
Yeah, pretty good. Should I reiterate how much dog meat sucks in Fallout 4? We've mostly been talking about Fallout 4.
Because you're wrong, but it is unpopular, so I guess so.
I got a comment on the worst NPCs list recently.
Good.
That was funny. They called my video bad.
Oh.
They were so mad about it.
I mean, I hate to take the side of the angry people screaming on the internet, but maybe this time they have a point.
They tried to clarify or justify by saying this isn't a bad companions video, it's a bad NPCs video, and dog meat isn't a bad NPC at all. And then he said, also, Myron is not the creator of Jet. Jet exists pre-war. He just made it with easy ingredients. Man, okay. So this person primarily just wanted to nitpick on a subjective countdown that I did. Fair, I guess. Everybody's got an opinion, right? Unpopular as they may be. Oh, and we're back. Yeah, check out my worst NPCs in Fallout. Number 5's dog meat. Enjoy that. Consume. Like and subscribe. What else you got, Sarge? What's unpopular?
Oh, another one, man. It's a slightly nuanced one, but I suppose the headline is the unpopular part, where I don't hate the Institute's kind of philosophy to an extent. If we just phrase it as Sarge loves the Institute and doesn't think that itself is idiots, then I'm sure it'll be the unpopular one. Like all of my opinions, it unfortunately has nuance to it. But fortunately, this is the internet, so I'm sure if I speak, it will all just be shredded away.
It's all gonna be at face value. Just say I love the Institute, and then like they're just gonna ignore the rest of it anyway.
Institute, simps are better than humans. They're the good guys of the story. Institute for life. Hashtag IF as an Institute family, but that's just if. No. I will say my big thing is the whole
Hashtag
mankind.
Father knows best.
Yes. No, the whole like mankind redefined thing and wanting to find like a better form of human is something I personally do actually get behind. I'm not big on humans. You lot suck, I'm sorry to say it, and have to be the one to bring this news to you, but NFTs was the last straw. It's simp time. But yeah, I genuinely am someone who's like totally cool with humanity being wiped out and being replaced by something better, and that very small part of the Institute philosophy, which isn't really expanded on too much because it very quickly just went into the robots are slaves. Barely expanded on. It's so stupid. Yeah, there's an annoying like switch the Institute seems to have where they are the mankind redefined and we're making these better and better like versions of humans, but they're synthetic humans, but we've decided to enslave all of them, but they're going to be our better version of us because it's a redefined version of humanity, but we're still on the top. It gets a bit wishy-washy, and I do not think it's particularly well done, but there is an idea behind it that I love and would get behind, despite it being like anti-human and all of that, which I'm sure would be unpopular because most people out there, I have a feeling, don't want humanity to die out.
Most people.
Yeah. But they're all idiots. What do they know?
They have unpopular opinions.
Yep. Yeah. Long live the simps, down with humans.
That's it? That was your...
Yep. That's my unpopular opinion. Hey, come on, Skynet, bring it on.
Yeah. I can't... It's hard to think of something in the other Fallout games that would be unpopular.
I mean, we can do some which are very commonly known, I think. Like, New Vegas is overrated by a small number of fans who speak too loudly about it. 76 gets way too much hate from what it deserves. While the classics are very good games in their own right, they're very unapproachable to a lot of modern people, which is why they're not as beloved as many believe they should be, unfairly. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there, which we could go through, but it's all been said before.
Out of the top of your head? Is it...
I've spent enough time dealing with the Fallout community to know all this stuff just instantly.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe my brain's not there today.
An unpopular Fallout opinion that I have about the franchise as a whole is that the fact it keeps innovating and becoming different and not always just being a better version of what came before is a positive for the franchise overall, and is why it has such broad and wide appeal to different people. And the fact that every game isn't for everyone is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Oh.
And wanting every future game to just be what you want is stupid.
That's a good one.
That one I know is unpopular.
Yeah.
Because everyone just wants the thing they want, but more of it.
Oh, here's one.
Like the comment I sent you earlier.
Getting mad at Bethesda for supposed retcons is stupid.
Oh yeah.
That's a hot take. That's an unpopular opinion to have, because between Fallout 1 and 2, Interplay and Black Isle retconned several things.
Yeah. There's retcons all the time.
In the same game they retcon things. One of them was related to Jet, by the way. But also, I learned or reminded myself that Harold goes from being a ghoul, goes from being a mutant in Fallout 1 to a ghoul in Fallout 2, and then back to a mutant in Fallout 3. That's the easier way to say it. I think he's called a ghoul in Fallout Brotherhood of Steel as well. I try to block that out of my mind because they did Harold dirtier than Fallout 3 in Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. But I think he's a ghoul in Fallout Tactics as well. He's a ghoul recruit. So like, but canonically he's a mutant because he fell into a vat of FEV. But it's flip-flopped several times.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just Bethesda, jacking up the history of Fallout. And Bethesda shouldn't be the only one, quote unquote, blamed, even though a lot of the time it just doesn't matter. It's nitpicky stuff.
Yeah. Often as well, like a little add-on to that is there's often like unreliable narrator style stuff when you hear one person inside of the game say something vague and then it's taken as gospel, and then in the next game something slightly different happens in relation to that thing that was briefly mentioned by someone who wasn't there in the canon of the game.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly the same, and everyone freaks out.
It's silly. I think getting mad about Bethesda retcon specifically is dumb.
Yeah.
Myself. Call that an unpopular opinion if you want.
Yeah.
Keep in mind this is coming from somebody who got mad about how Harold was treated in Fallout 3. But
I remembered one as well while you were talking about that, which I see far too often, which is the whole Emil sucks kind of online discourse, which I see. Emil Pagliarulu? I have no idea how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry.
The lead writer, right?
Yeah.
Bethesda Fallouts.
Yes. There's like a lot of hate towards him online, like, and a genuine unhealthy amount. There's a lot of people who are just like, screw him. Oh, I've even found one on r/Fallout. There's one from 5 years ago with like 8,500 upvotes, which is just, until Bethesda fires/relocates Emil, do not expect quality storylines ever again. Yes, it's that bad.
Wow.
And it is 85% upvoted. There's a lot of people who do just like hating on him, and generally the stuff he's saying isn't like terrible. There's nothing on here, like, I struggle to actually find quotes for things. The problem is I can't find quotes, I just find people being annoyed, and it's so difficult to source any actual quotes. But God damn it. Yeah, the Emil hate feels very pointless, and the fact that everyone's just like, well, it's his fault. This game, which tons of people worked on, entirely his fault that the writing was bad. And while he definitely has a strong presence in the writing side of things, I feel like he's very much just being put as the totem on which to rage about, rather than something significant.
Yeah. I think it just has to reach memedom like Todd Howard.
Yeah.
To where it's just a joke of itself, where, you know, people don't take it seriously and shouldn't. People shouldn't take it seriously. That kind of criticism, constructive criticism, as people like to call it. It's not.
Yeah.
Especially if you can tell if something is constructive when examples are used.
Yes.
If people are just complaining for the sake of complaining, that's when it stops being constructive and it's just complaints.
Yeah, the big part that stands out to me as well is that it's never like specific criticism of, oh, this part of a story is poorly written, look at the writing here. It's, oh, Emil's an idiot.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. Like, you should 100% be criticizing the work, but just going after the person who you assume did it. Here's the thing, we don't even know what Emil did directly.
Yep.
But everyone's just like, well, his fault. And it's like, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Were you working there? Did you see all the actual stuff? No, it's just being angry mob. We found someone to pin up. Let's scream at them.
Oh, I have one.
Oh.
New Vegas is a spin-off.
Yes, it is. I mean, what you're saying there is technically just a fact, but it's not an opinion. That is a fact.
Well, people will get mad about it.
But it's unpopular. Yes. Oh. The mirror to that as well is 76 is also a spin-off, which people get mad about for the opposite reason.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Which is they don't want it to be a mainline game, but it's got a number at the end of it, so it must be.
Oh,
Seems to be the thinking from what I can tell.
It's the 76th game.
But it's also because it plays in a similar way to like 3, New Vegas, and 4, which, you know, are the Fallout trilogy that exists.
But it's still in the same, has the same kind of scenario as Fallout New Vegas. New Vegas was made with the same kind of iteration of the engine that was made in Fallout 3. Same with 76 and Fallout 4. So like it's, in every sense, it is a spin-off too. So yeah, it just it's maybe it's a good litmus test. Maybe if you're having a conversation with somebody you don't know entirely well, you can use that as like a test to see how annoyed you're going to get with the conversation you're going to have if you talk about Fallout. Just be like, New Vegas was a spinoff, and if they get really pissed, then you're probably not going to have a good conversation about Fallout.
Oh, man. I both hate and love about conversations on the internet that you can say something like that, which is neither a positive or negative statement, and people will like take offense at it and be like, how could you say this terrible thing? Yeah.
Can I go on a side tangent?
Go for it.
There is something that does annoy me when people use the term overrated as a negative, as opposed to using it as a term for something that was just considered better than it was, kind of thing.
Yep.
Like it's maybe it's that overrated is just lost, kind of like RPG. It's kind of just lost the actual definition of the word. So people are using it just willy-nilly for different things, and all of it annoys me.
I mean, overrated at least has a very nicely, clearly defined definition to work with. I feel like it's not quite as lost as RPG, where everything got thrown into the category. Overrated still means something, but I don't think people understand what it means.
It has a definition, but it's used interchangeably with bad or something that I didn't want, or whatever else. Insert definition here for the word overrated. And that's something that fans like to use a lot. I don't know. That's one of the things that just annoys me. Maybe call that a freaking unpopular opinion about Fallout fans, but that's just gaming fans in general. The term overrated is overrated.
Yeah. I've actually used it a fair few times recently, but I've always had like an actual conversation about it when I'm using it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the 2 times I most vividly remember were from streams where I was talking about how, like, Fallout New Vegas is very much overrated by a small subsect of the community because whilst being a very good game, it has a lot of flaws which seem to get ignored in a lot of online discourse about it. And it is, instead of being just viewed as a single project, it's compared to other games, and the only comparisons are what it's better at rather than what it's worse at, which is why I believe it to be overrated.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is like Skyrim, where I was asking people if they think Skyrim is currently being fairly rated, overrated, or underrated, because I believe the discourse around it online has changed a lot with the special edition and then anniversary edition. And overall, I feel like opinions have leaned a little more negatively towards it over time, whereas it may have started out as somewhat of an overrated game despite still being absolutely god tier. It was rated like above god tier or whatever, and then over time the rating has lessened, and now it could almost be described as underrated in some cases, because it still is a very, very good game, but a lot more people are just annoyed that it still is about. And thus have changed their opinion about it over time.
And then they blame Todd Howard because Todd Howard was the only person involved, right?
Man, Todd Howard's so greedy. Why does he keep releasing Skyrim?
Darn it.
I'm having the comments again, which are people getting angry at me for buying Anniversary Edition. And just, like, calling me an idiot. Just being like, how dare you? It's like, I'm allowed to buy this, you know?
Yeah, it's just buying DLC for $20. Which, I will say too, has more content than a standard DLC has in the past. I'm... Because that's like 70-something things just all packed into one thing. Several of them are fairly meaty quests. I think the Ghost of the Tribunal took me, I think, like 2-3 hours? Something like that?
It's a handy one.
Yeah. And I think average was like 4 to 6, right? For the Dawn Guard and Dragonborn was a little bit longer, right? Or no, if you do the main story, like it's 4 to 6, right?
Yeah, I feel like Dragonborn maybe is more content just from having the big lamb mass there as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's hard to judge like open world RPGs in hours on the story because there's so many distractions.
All I'm saying is there's a lot of stuff to do with Anniversary Edition, and I think it's worth the $20, despite it being, 10 years after the game came out.
However, my comments said, JFC people, you gotta stop buying these titles and complain why there's no TES or GTA. Stop letting them wring your wallet like a goddamn wet towel.
What does that mean?
Because they seem to believe that because some of us bought Anniversary Edition, that is the reason GTA 6 and The Elder Scrolls 6 are not currently out.
No.
Well, obviously they're wrong, Caedo. It's an idiot on the internet. But they are angry. So facts don't care when feelings are involved. That's the quote, right?
Yes, feelings aren't facts.
No. Feelings are the important one. The facts don't matter.
Get emotional about it, please. Gives me sustenance. I don't know.
I just checked through my comments and I'm literally seeing the same person just screaming over and over again.
Oh man, there's a good one.
Yeah.
Someone said in the unpopular opinions that one was actually pretty far down. Having a voice protagonist immersed me more into the game than a mute scrolling through dialogue options ever did. There is some power behind that statement, I think. Because while I think the problem with Fallout 4's voice protagonist, and we've talked about this before, is how they did dialogue on top of the voice protag.
Yeah.
Because while they did like a shorthand thing, which also they kind of fixed with Fallout 76's dialogue, but we're not voiced in that one. But they would show like what the actual thing you were saying was as well. I think if it were pursued further, like they'd be able to hone in on doing it better. Like, I mean, like any developer, right? But it seems like Bethesda's going to go back on that and make a silent protagonist again. So, you know,
yes,
it's fine. Like they don't have to be Mass Effect.
No.
But if somebody did Mass Effect better, I would not complain. Because Mass Effect is a masterpiece.
I have just linked you in our private Discord call, which none of you listening get to be in. A 6-second video from ProZD of when a video game dialogue option is way more aggressive than you anticipated. Where he literally picks the option of hello in like the classic 4 things, and the character says, hello, I'm gonna kill your whole family and you're gonna burn and die. Which is, like, obviously a far more dramatized version of what can sometimes happen, but also the general feeling of, like, when you think they're gonna say something completely different tone is an issue as well. Yeah. I will say that person's unpopular opinion, I fully agree with them in the way they said it. However, I still am very much against a voice protagonist for the ProZD example of them saying something completely different from what you thought they were going to say, from role-playing being worse from having a voiced character, in that they're always going to sound like Mr. Generic American person or Mrs. Generic American Lady. For
the sake of, like, role-playing diversity, it makes it a lot more difficult. Whereas in games like, Mass Effect and The Witcher, like, you have a pre-established character, and that is working in the confines of that, so the dialogue is a lot easier to be on board with. Or maybe the dialogue has more guidance on its own because of that character's background.
Yeah.
So
if you've already got a personality baked into the character, you can give them a voice to match. But if you're just trying to do a voice which could go anywhere from raider overboss who wants to kill everyone to peace-loving settlement-building person. Like, even I changed my voice there without thinking to just do those 2 options, but you can't do that in the game. You're always Mr. Generic American Man. How are you doing, sir? Which doesn't help.
Voice protag could be done, but maybe in another Fallout spin-off instead of a mainline game. Maybe. Oh, we could play the Vault-Tec rep.
I was actually, when you said as a spin-off game, the first thing that popped into my mind was Fallout Shelter, where voiced characters in that 100% fine. That's not really a role-playing based game where you create your own characters.
There's voice characters in that?
Yeah. There's not. But it would work fine with voice characters.
Yeah, it would work. Yeah. Interesting.
And I mean, Fallout Tactics has voiced characters, doesn't it? Or are they partially voiced?
Partial voiced.
Okay.
A lot of the bad guys and the Barnaby, whatever the commanding officer is, he's got a voice.
Barnables.
But Barnable plot device.
That's a game where having voices for the characters works, because you're not really making your own character, you're stepping into the shoes of something else.
Yeah, and your character specifically does not have voice lines, so, because we were mainly talking about player character stuff.
Yes.
Anything else you got, Sarge, for your unpopular Fallout opinions? Maybe something not Fallout 4 related?
Well, I'm wondering what I can say without losing all my subscribers.
I've been heavy-handed with the Fallout 4 ones, too.
Yeah, but I mean, mine have spread a bit more. My OST one was a bit of a generic complaint. If you want to hear me talk about that for like half an hour, there's a video on it. Because I really do feel surprisingly strongly about that. It feels weird to call it an unpopular opinion, but I do believe that focusing more on the gameplay over pure story is a better choice overall for the Fallout franchise.
Ooh, you gotta make all the FPS people get madder. They're the FPS complainers? FPS complainers.
Yeah, FPS
more mad.
Get madder. Because, like, while I 100% do appreciate a really good story, I mean, a lot of my job and what I've been doing for all my life has been writing and writing characters and writing their stories and doing all that stuff. While I do appreciate that, I have played plenty of games which have like a good story and terrible gameplay, and I'd always prefer it the other way around. Like, I can handle a bad story if the gameplay is good. I can't handle a good story if the gameplay is bad.
Yeah. And using a recent example, because you don't like the story of Cyberpunk, right?
I don't. That's right. Good example, Caedo. Yeah.
But the gameplay is good.
Yes, which is why I've stuck with it for, like, I was going to say multiple playthroughs, for a playthrough plus several half playthroughs. And while I overall have decided I don't like that game, the gameplay is what kept me going, despite all of the negatives, to which writing was one for me.
Oh man, and there's plenty of negatives for Cyberpunk. So many. What if I say I just don't like the Enclave and here we go. I don't think the Enclave should come back.
Same.
A lot of people are going to be mad about that one, I think.
Yes, so many people will be mad.
Because there's some people that are just like, I love the Enclave. Enclave are the best. The Genocider faction is your favorite? That's cool.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
how boring would the Wasteland be with just the Enclave?
Yeah. I'm going to add on to that the whole, like, Enclave versus Brotherhood continued love and support of those two factions, and it seeming to be a war within the community that, oh no, we've had too much Brotherhood stuff, we need Enclave stuff, no, we need more Brotherhood stuff, the Enclave have already been about, no more Enclave, no more Brotherhood. Like, those two factions being, like, what is always being requested more of, I am not a fan of at all.
Yeah.
I want more focus on new factions, less focus on these ones which we have seen in multiple games already.
Yeah. I agree with that, but I also really, really want some strong factions created that aren't just killed off in the arc of one game.
76.
Because it seems like Bethesda has a habit of doing that, or just rehashing the same factions over and over and over.
I mean, I feel like Fallout 4 came up with good factions in general, but we haven't really had a chance to see them again.
Yeah. I was disappointed by the hype of the Railroad from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, though, a little bit.
Yeah, I get that.
Very Thieves Guildy.
Yeah, I would say they are an overrated faction. However, for what they are good.
Yeah.
It's just, they seem to be like a big focus for a lot of people when it was leading up to the game. To the point of, I literally was avoiding most news about the game, and the one thing I still knew about when I first played Fallout 4 was the Railroad.
I knew spoilers when I first played Fallout 4.
I avoided them. I honestly, I probably unsubscribed from like you and a lot of other YouTubers on my lead up to Fallout 4.
It's good that you did, because I learned spoilers through chat.
Yep.
Like, the Fallout 4 was spoiled for me through chat. Like, that's one of the things that, like, I'm really disappointed in being a YouTuber for happening, because I decided to stream before Fallout 4's release, and I had the ending spoiled for me.
Like, Starfield comes out in less than a year, and I'm planning on streaming it early because I know it will help me financially, but there's a part of me which is like, I know I'm going to enjoy the game slightly less because there'll be someone who comes in who just speed ram the game or something and tells me like tons of endgame stuff and ruins it for people.
Yeah, I was fortunate to have like moderators and stuff like that, but I actually had to disable chat because there was people just coming in to sabotage the game for other people. Like, that was my first experience with that, and it happened to be with a franchise that I love.
Oh,
doesn't that suck?
That hurts.
Man, that sucks. But I think we're done with the unpopular opinions. I don't have any more.
We're just grumbling about general
We're just being sad now.
Yep.
Please put your unpopular opinions in the comments section. We might read them as a comment of the cast next episode.
There's a particularly good one, we might discuss it.
Yeah, also have the understanding that we might make a joke about what you say, because it's an unpopular opinion.
Oh, like, I would never do such a thing.
And all the things that we said, you're more than welcome to be upset about the things that we said, because they're unpopular
have to agree
opinions.
with me. It's law.
Or make jokes about it, because that's primarily why we keep doing the podcast, because we're finding ways to keep ourselves entertained about Fallout. And
I mean, just a general thing as well is when you do like disagree with something that isn't super serious, like video games and that kind of stuff. do try and keep like your retorts to it on the light-hearted side of things.
Yeah.
It is healthier on all sides, trust me.
Yeah.
I see so many people these days getting very angry over video game opinions. When the best thing to do is just be like, ha 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 ha.
Be a reminder that it's all in good fun. Not like NFTs. Yeah. NFTs are not fun. NFTs will murder your wallet and also make you sad. But if it's anything besides that, when it comes to dealing with, you know, video games that we like to play, it's just have fun with it. It's a video game. And talking about it should be fun too.
Yep. Speaking about having fun with video games, what have you been playing, Caedo?
I'm glad you asked, because I've been playing too many video games.
You have. I agree. Just stop doing it, Caedo. It's bad.
Well, still been working on a Skyrim countdown. I'm losing some momentum here for Skyrim Anniversary Edition. I knew that it was going to come eventually, and I was mentally prepared for Skyrim fatigue, but I did at least get 3 videos out so far, and all of them have been doing, 2 out of the 3 have been doing exceptionally well. One of them has been doing all right, or fairly well, better than most things I upload still. Because it's Skyrim. Skyrim is always popular.
Oh yeah, man. The alternative armors and fishing are creeping up on 100k.
Yep. It's ridiculous. Solid. It is ridiculous.
Ooh.
Yeah. And besides Skyrim Anniversary Edition, which people love hearing about all the time, I've been playing Valheim some more. When I have a time where I'm like, I don't want to play Skyrim, I want to play Fallout 2 Let's Play stuff, just play some Valheim, just dink around there. They added a recent update that gave us armor stands, so now you can display your armor, and it doesn't equip as I would like it to with like it does with weapons, which is disappointing. Like you have to manually equip all of the armor when you swap. Maybe they'll change that in the future, but it's nice to have armor stands so you can look at your glorious armor sets. I didn't write it down, but yeah, Fallout 2, I've done some recording for the Let's Play some more. A lot of fun. I found out that I couldn't speak to the Enclave communications officer at the Gecko power plant. I really want to, because it's some of the best voice acted dialogue in a video game of all time, and it's hilarious. Because I need a science skill of like 50, so I delayed fixing the Gecko power plant to go grind out like a couple levels just to get science to 50 so I can do that call, because it's funny. So that's something that you can expect in late December episodes.
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh my goodness. Okay, this game got Best Narrative at the Game Awards, and I understand why now. Holy crap, this is a good game. Do not sleep on it. My face hurt from smiling so much. I never do that with games. Guardians of the Galaxy, freaking play it. I implore you. It's like, you know how video games are fun, or supposed to be fun? Yeah, this game is fun.
It's good.
All the characters are incredible, and work so well together. I think sharing the dialogue load between 5 characters is really good when all of the voice actors and writing is on board with that. And it's just great all the way through. Highly recommend. Play Guardians of the Galaxy. My biggest surprise with the Guardians of the Galaxy game, I didn't want it to end, but then I found out that what felt like the ending was only half of the game. And that was nice. So it's like 16 chapters, and I was in chapter 8, and I'm like, this feels like final. This feels like the climax of something that's, and then it's going to be a boss fight that the game's going to be over. Nope. Another half of the game was still there. Oh, that made me so happy. So yeah, play Guardians of the Galaxy. Serious, for real. It's a good game. And then also, the game of the year that I was playing was It Takes Two with Nelsar. I'm getting highlights of it, so it might go in my highlights playlist at some point, or end up as a secret highlights for my patrons, because patrons get unlisted stuff. If I'm using a lot of bad language and don't feel like editing it, or Sarge drops an F-bomb and I'm just like, oh, whatever.
Okay, that sounds more
patrons.
realistic. I was about to say, Caedo using bad language, possible, never happens. Sarge swearing and cursing every time the mic goes off and he thinks no one's listening. Oh, yes.
I had too many on my channel already that people didn't care about, but we did a Fortnite highlights for my patrons when I was playing with Sarge and S.T.A.L.K.E.R. And it was a good time. But Sarge said an F word.
Oh no, an F word.
He said the F word.
How could I say something so bad?
But yeah, It Takes Two. That's also a very fun game. But it's co-op specific. Like, you have to have somebody else to play it with. So, and Nelsar is my first pick for playing co-op games. So, I'm sorry, Sarge.
I mean, I'm probably sleeping at a lot of the times you're planning on playing those games, let's face it.
Yeah. But this is us, like, getting in gear for Dying Light 2 also, that comes out in a couple of months. So, in 2022, oh my god, we're so close.
We are. The next PIPCAST will be next year.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, in January.
Yeah.
Nothing will change.
No.
Except the year. And maybe what we've been playing, right, Sarge? What have you been playing?
Well, like you, I've played some Skyrim AE.
No.
I've made a lot of videos on it. Like, a lot.
I can't
like,
believe
out of
it.
my past 10 videos, 7 of them? Yes, 7 of my last 10 videos are Skyrim Anniversary Edition videos.
Crushing it.
And, yeah, it's weird, but the character builds I've made for Skyrim Anniversary Edition are doing, like, okay. The opinion pieces I've made on Anniversary Edition are doing better than I possibly could have expected.
Yeah.
Mostly thanks to people angrily commenting that they're annoyed that I make these videos where I express an opinion.
Woo, engagement.
So, thank you, angry commenters. You're the reason those videos do well. All the times you shout at me and wish I wouldn't make them, you basically pay for them to keep being made.
You make them successful. Good job.
Yeah. But while I've not been playing Skyrim, there's a couple of games I've gone with. Halo Infinite, I picked it up on Game Pass, and it is my favourite Halo campaign.
Whoa!
Despite the fact I knew nothing of what was going on half the time. I have beat 3 Halo games. Halo Reach, and Halo Infinite. Which is not a good spread for understanding the story of the franchise as a whole.
That's different. That's like different timelines entirely.
I mean, Halo reaches from before original Halo in the timeline. Then Halo pops up as, like, I think the next game in the timeline. And then, I don't know, probably 50 years or something passes to Infinite. And, yeah. Some of the good guys turn bad. I don't want to spoil anything, because I also don't know what is a spoiler in the game.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just not going to say much. But the game is, like, open world now. But they do a very good mix of, like, some linear levels you get pushed into, which feel more like classic Halo, and the open world I love because I'm a fan of that, especially because you get a grappling hook.
Yes.
Which I adore so much.
I've seen some really cool clips of the grappling hook and how people use it.
Oh, I am regularly jumping into, like, my plane. When my plane gets damaged, I jump out and grappling hook onto, like, an enemy banshee, I think they're called, and just hijack it in the middle of the air while free falling, thanks to the grappling hook.
So cool.
That's just a regular thing you can do. And yeah, it's amazing. It's very fun. Huge fan of it. Unlike Kingdoms of Amalur, which I'm burnt out on now.
Oh, Sarge. I'm so
it happened
sorry.
before you messaged me about the stuff as well, Caedo.
No.
It was, yeah. So the Fatesworn DLC came out. I'd been prepping for it for quite a while, like getting through the main story, leveling up my character, and then when I tried to play the new DLC on stream, the new DLC for the game, which is nearly 10 years old, I couldn't play it. Like, literally couldn't get through one of the quests because I was not a high enough level. And then, after the stream, I leveled up to level 30. The old end level cap for the game was 40. The level cap was raised with the DLC to 50. I leveled up to 30, and still impossible to get past the first mission of the DLC. You have to be level 40. Like, maybe you could do it at level 35 if you push yourself hard. But from the little bit of testing that Caedo's told me about, basically, and from some online research, it seems the enemies in the DLC, lowest level they are is level 40, and there's like an ultra rare achievement you get for killing an enemy that's 4 levels higher than you, because it's just that hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I haven't been able to play Fatesworn. It would take me, on estimate, a good 10 hours more just to get to level 40. Yeah. And that's if I was leveling at a pretty decent rate. And I just don't feel like doing it after already spending about 20 extra hours in the game. I've got no idea what Fatesworn's like. Maybe it's a good DLC, maybe it's bad, but I've just got a negative opinion of it now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing it, but to me, so far, I haven't done too much of the story just yet. Like, I did that portal part that you got stuck on, but it kind of just led into the next area, and we were just like, oh, we gotta find Agarth, and without any, finding Agarth yet.
Okay.
So, like, it just feels like more Amalur with less color than the rest of the game.
That's not so good.
I mean, that's something that I complained about when we saw the screenshots too. It's got way less bright colors than the rest of the game. Like, you can tell that it's by a different team.
I mean, the new starting area is very much just generic fantasy forest, as opposed to the more Pixie-esque fantasy forest, like bright colors and waterfalls and magic creatures running around kind of feel that Amalur normally has. Yeah, and
it felt like some things were just less exaggerated when that's part of kind of the art direction that they went with the rest of the game. Like, the trees look like they were normal sized instead of gigantic. Just little things like that. And also, like, because the entrance to the DLC is in that forest you're talking about, like, it's just everything green and glowing to something that's way more muted. And you're just like, oh, okay, all right. Well, I mean, it's still Amalur. It's still fun. It's still a game that I can play, notwithstanding the level cap thing. I don't know. It just feels like more Amalur so far, which isn't a bad thing, but was kind of hoping for more. Also, some of the voice acting lines were definitely over a call or something like that, or recorded in somebody else's setup, because there's some variation in there in sound quality for voice lines. I'm
guessing that may be an unfortunate knock-on effect from COVID.
Yes. Yeah, I'm guessing that as well. But it's not like super noticeable, like, unless you have an ear for audio, like, you probably won't even care or notice. But because I spend, upwards of a couple hours working with audio every time we record these, I pay extra attention. Even if I don't want to.
Speaking of which, we should probably wrap this up so you don't have to listen to any more of us talking.
Yay! It's okay, I edited fast. I'm very fast at it now.
That has been the PIPCAST. You're already on Caedo's channel, so feel free to check out some of his recent Skyrim guides or his Fallout 2 Let's Play. If you want to go over to my channel, I have had some opinions, so please do disagree with them.
Yep.
Or you could just check out some of my Skyrim builds, my Cyberpunk review, there might be a comments video out. I think the comments video comes out a couple of days after this, but in a couple of days, there's a comments video to also be angry over.
Yeah.
Go to my channel to be angry. Don't actually. Be chill. Just be a chill person in life. It's better. Anyway.
It's not that hard, guys.
No, it's super easy. And we'll just end with a nice chill farewell.
Bye!